Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name is Dawn McCahon and this is my book, Pretty as a Petri, illustrated by Morgan Spicer. Pretty as a Petri. For my children, Caroline and Daniel, who I really just wrote this book for initially. I envisioned you, I yearned for you. I did all that was humanly possible to have you. This book is for both of you. Without warning, like a tornado in Kansas, Caroline rushes into the kitchen with another one of her stump the parents questions. Caroline asks, looking at Mom, Mom, where do babies come from? Because Daniel says you can buy them at the hospital. You can even pick out what kind you want. Mom turns, looking to Dad for help. Dad says with arms shrugged, you know, I'm not good with these things. Caroline says, anybody, please, just tell me, where do babies come from? Mom says, all babies come from mommy's bellies, but it's where they start that's sometimes different. The day we decided to have you and Daniel, we drove to Dr. Rogers' office. She was the wonderful woman who helped us create both of you. Dr. Rogers took eggs from Mommy and sperm from Daddy and put them in a small petri dish. Caroline, with a look of confusion on her face, questions this. Eggs from where? The refrigerator? And what's she going to do with the worms? Mom laughs, says, no, not the eggs we eat, but the kind that mommies carry in their bellies, waiting to become babies. Caroline's still a little bit confused, asks, but what about the worms, Mom? Not worms, Caroline, Mom explains, sperm. They're what Daddy has to help create the embryo. Burrito? How did that happen? Caroline blurts out. No, Caroline, an embryo, Mom says slowly. They're what my egg and Daddy's sperm becomes when it's put into the perfect petri dish. You see, the sperm swims around and around for a chance to dance with the pretty egg. And when the one lucky sperm gets in to dance with the egg, they become the embryo. Caroline nods. Now I get it. Daddy's sperm liked your eggs, but they needed a place to meet, and Dr. Rogers had the special dish to put them in. So how long do the embryos stay in the dish? Caroline asks. Mom answers, now we get to the best part. Dr. Rogers kept them in the petri dish for a few days, and then we drove back to her office. This was such a special day because this was the day the embryos were put inside my belly. Caroline says with a tilt of her head, why couldn't they just stay in the petri dish? Mommy smiles. Well, because a mommy's belly is the safest, warmest place for a baby to grow and grow and grow you did. 8 whole weeks later, we went back to Dr. Rogers' office to have a sonogram. Caroline twists her face. A whatagram? Mom says, a sonogram. It's a picture of the baby growing inside Mommy's belly. Only guess what? Inside of me was not just you, Caroline, but Daniel was growing too. Daddy always says that's when he started believing in love at first sight. So every few weeks, as you both grew inside me, we would visit the doctor to take more pictures. No, Mommy, not pictures, sonograms, Caroline corrects, shaking her little finger. You're right, Caroline, sonograms. Now, where was I? Right. While you two were growing inside my belly, time was passing. We measured how long we had to wait with all the holidays and seasons that passed. While you two were getting bigger and stronger, the fireworks were exploding on the 4th of July. Labor Day came with family barbecues, leaves started changing colors, and children dressed up for Halloween. Thanksgiving had arrived, and families gathered. By Christmas, my belly was almost as big as Santa Claus. By New Year's, you and your brother snuggled closer together inside my belly. And by Valentine's Day, you both had stolen my heart. Finally, the big day was here. March 9th. I woke Daddy up and told him it was time. Time for what? Caroline asks excitedly. Dad finally chimes in. Time for you and Daniel to be born, silly. Off to the hospital we went, where we met Dr. Rogers, and before we knew it, you both were born. Wow, Caroline exclaims, but how did we get out? That's a story for another time. You only asked, where do babies come from? Caroline leaves the room with a big smile on her face. Mom and Dad sit exhausted on the couch with smiles. And with that, Daniel comes in yelling, where do babies come from? Because Caroline says, the end. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening, and I hope my story about IVF is a story you'd like to share with your children or someone who's experienced infertility in some way, shape, or form. Thank you.